Neutrog is here. We love it when he joins us this time each and every Sunday from Neutrog. Dr. Uwe Stroeher. Morning, Uwe.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Huey, good morning to you. All well?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yep, can't complain.
How's your veggie garden looking?
Oh, do not ask.
Oh, well, I'm glad
Do not
I'm
ask.
not in the boat on my own.
We can have a conversation about the issues of my veggie garden and what I've done wrong. I can write a short story on it. Certainly, I think the soil I got in, which was a sandy loam, it's just I shouldn't have done that. But you live and learn.
So how will you fix that as a
I will this year
agronomist and scientist?
Look, I think what I will do is basically I've got a pile of clay soil around there, so I'm going to dig in some clay. And I'm also going to get some more of the good stuff from Neutrog and dig it all in. Lots of compost and try to see if I can, mitigate the problem I have. My biggest problem is that, with the sandy type material, no water holding capacity. We got another week of 40 plus degrees, well, 37 to 40 degrees coming up. And I'm just going, I think I'll just give it away until autumn.
That little medium strip I planted out the front of our house, and I used Uflang dung. I can't believe the moisture holding capacity of that product.
Yeah, it's really good.
I put it on, I don't know, probably 25, 50 millimetres, no more.
Yeah.
And around each plant to start with, and then I spread this sort of bare soil with it.
Right.
Well, the plants are just gone ahead in leaps and bounds. In all the hot weather, it probably gets watered once a fortnight. That's pretty good.
That's very, very good.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so those plants now, their root system, one would hope, has gone down deep enough, cool enough, down below the mulch. So mulching is so important.
Oh, absolutely critical, especially if, with a week like this. And the other big advantage of mulch is that in a year's time, you'll suddenly realise, wow, earthworms have come up and grabbed some of that material and brought it back down. So mulching does more than just keep moisture in and stop weeds. It does the thing, but it basically conditions your soil.
But look, that's not what we're here for today.
No.
How gardeners, the topic for today, is how gardeners can help to protect insect diversity.
Yes, I guess, a lot of gardeners look at insects as being pests. We've got our caterpillars and we've got our aphids and various other things that come along. But to be honest, the majority of insects are actually beneficial. I mean, without bees, where would we be? Where would our veggie garden be? It'll be like mine, dead. Where would your fruit trees be? Without parasitic wasps, caterpillars would run riot. Without things like ladybirds and lacewing larvae, aphids would have a feast. So, the majority of insects are actually beneficial in your garden. They help in your composting. They help in moving nutrients through the soil. So they've got lots and lots of benefits. But one of the things is that what we need to do is we actually need to look at what's happening to the insects on this planet. And there's been a report recently that shows that about 40% of all the insects on the planet are actually facing a significant downturn, and in some cases even an extinction event. And the problem with that is that a lot of those insects are things like your bees and your butterflies and some of the beetles. So these are really, really important in the ecosystem. And we know about bees' numbers going backwards, but certainly, if numbers of parasitic wasps go backwards, you'll just end up with more other insects. The undesirable pests will just take over. They'll just take that niche and go, yep, here we go, party time. So it is about, how do we maintain insect diversity? Because it's balance. Exactly. So
what do we do? How can we keep our little insects happy?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why they think the insects are actually going backwards. So the main one is a monoculture that we've introduced in agriculture. So widespread, just growing one type of crop. And the other thing is extensive use of chemicals. And there's some impact from climate change, but it's not significant. Climate change is one of those things where insects are quite adaptable. So in a garden, what you really want to do is, I know that a lot of people like to grow just one type of plant. They're particularly happy to do that. But what you should try to do is you should try to still have some diversity. So, I love my conifers, if you can look at the pictures. But I still have room for some trees. I've still got some flowering plants. I've still got a few natives. So that's really critical. Get some diversity in your garden because that attracts all the other types of insects. And remembering that if you're growing one type of plant, the pest that's attracted to it, the predator may not be attracted by that plant. So that may be attracted by a completely different plant. So it's important to have that diversity. And the other thing is, we talked about mulching. I mean, mulching and composting, great habitat for insects. Fantastic. They help in, soil turnover. They help to get that diversity going. So that's the things that you can do to directly influence your insect diversity. Don't go for monoculture in your garden.
Quite often the modern garden is a mono, inverted commas, cultured garden because it may have typically a box hedge.
Yep.
Iceberg roses.
Yep.
Lawn.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it.
So there's not a great arsenal there, is there? Or a breeding ground or whatever you call it.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
and that's where you get more disease on roses, lawn. And, it's quite a challenge though, because that's what people want. They want paving, a pond, a hedge, and some colour. I can't argue with that. I mean, with small gardens, you're limited. Certainly you are. But, then think about it. Well, maybe you can make your front garden a bit different to your back garden. Do you need to have the same look in your back as you do in your front? See, my front garden is quite different. My front garden is probably has a little bit more native feel to it. Got a couple of big gum trees in there and that sort of thing. Whereas my backyard is much more a European type garden. So, again, at least you're providing some diversity. And I agree with a small garden, it is difficult. But then, you can think of things like maybe you'll put out some pots with some different varieties of plants in it. Some herbs.
Some herbs or something, exactly. So there's that option. And I guess the other thing is with the use of insecticides and herbicides, again, this is where your soil microbiology becomes really important. If you can get that really happy soil microbiology, then your plants are happier, they're healthier, they're stronger, and you actually need to use less pesticides, which means you're having less of an influence on what you do have in regards to insect diversity. It's pretty important to try to maintain that, because without it, the ecosystem on the planet will collapse. Yeah,
that's exactly right. A lot of older gardens, probably, if the gardeners were sort of to think seriously about it, they probably think, well, I haven't sprayed my garden for a long while, because of, I don't get these outbreaks as regularly or at all.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you spray your garden?
I've been in this garden for 6 years now. I have not sprayed ever.
Leith?
There you go.
Yeah, no.
Every day?
I haven't. I mean, having said that, I do occasionally reach to the herbicide for the driveway, because it's a real pain in the driveway and in amongst the paving. But the back garden, I hand weed. It's a long job, but it's actually quite satifying. I find it quite cathartic.
Too. It's interesting talking to people about their gardens and the use of insecticides and dusts and all that. I mean, look, my veggie garden's been wiped out with a fungal disease on my cucumbers and zucchinis. And that. You think, oh, well, too late, it's gone. But had I been there, I may have reached for a fungicide.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I wasn't there.
Look, I'm not saying that you don't need to occasionally use chemicals, but I think that the great thing is if you actually have the ecology in your garden running properly, you can reduce the need of that.
Yes.
You can significantly do that. And if you're going to go down that ecological route, then there's nothing better than using a good organic fertiliser.
Yeah.
So,
And there's plenty of organic or safe insecticides to use now these days, so that's good. All right, Uwe, thanks for that.
No
very
problems.
good, very interesting, as always. If people would like to get more information.
Info at neutrog.com.au or, Facebook page is another way you can get us. So there's plenty of opportunities, and, keep using the Rapid Razor and the Seamongers out there. And have a happy and healthy garden.
What did you bring in today?
I brought in some Rapid Razor and some Go-Go juice.
Oh, beautiful. We're giving that away, Leith.
We are, yes. So if you want to win that, well, you know what to do. Call us, email, send a Facebook message. Who deserves this? Or what's the kind of person that could really do with this?
Well, I think anyone really that's looking at trying to, even if they're starting off and they've got a small garden, they're maybe they're thinking, well, maybe I'll try to go a bit more ecological. Maybe I'll try to go a bit more biological. It's a good way to get into it.
And biological control, we didn't talk about that. It's another way of controlling.
Well, that's right. Yep.
But you can buy bugs online and all that sort of thing.
But these are the predatory insects we talked about. The wasps, the lacewings, the ladybirds. These are the sort of things that are your biological control. I mean, bacteria can also help. I mean, plants will recruit certain bacteria to help actually fight off insect attacks as well. So there's lots of ways that nature balances itself without the use of chemicals.
Uwe, as always, very, very interesting. Thank you.
No problems. Thanks for your time.
That bag of Rapidosa doesn't have a hole in it or anything, does it?
No, I checked it out.
Okay, just checking. We're going to take a short break. Thank you, Uwe. Always great to see you. 12 minutes to 8 now, Michael Keelan's Weekend.
Brenton Reckless.
Good evening. We start with